Hello, Da Vinci. Welcome back. This is our history lesson, our wider curricular lesson for today. It's the 11th of January. So, the learning objective today is, can I explain the importance of the Apollo 11 mission? And the second learning objective is, can I choose and use parts of stories and other sources to show that I know and understand the key features of events? So that's the scale. And then we're looking at our learning objective. We're looking at the importance of the Apollo 11 mission. So, today, we're going to be learning about an historic event that changed space travel for mankind, the lunar landing. The first moon landing to ever take place on July the 24th, 1969. So, there's a video that is in the first line of the description. It is all about the moon landing in 1969 with this astronaut, Neil Armstrong. I need you to watch this video and then you can come back to this session. And this is going to give you a better information and a good visual of what it looked like at the time. Once you've watched this video, come back to me, okay? Okay, so Neil Armstrong's famous words. That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. And this was a really special quote because you could tell that Neil Armstrong was so excited when he said this. And what he was meaning by this is, although it was only one small step out of the spacecraft, it was actually a giant leap, which means a really big forward push for science, because it meant that they'd achieved something of putting a man on the moon, which had never been done before. So it was meaning it was one giant leap for mankind, humans. That's what it means. I know it says mankind doesn't just mean men, it means humans, okay? So the distance between the moon and planet Earth is 384,400 kilometers. Now, that means nothing to you, absolutely nothing. It doesn't mean a lot to me either. It's just a long number. But this is how you need to imagine it. If you were walk from the Green Drive gate to year 2 and back every day, that's around about maybe a kilometer, okay? Let's imagine it's half a kilometer there and half a kilometer back. So if that's 1 kilometer, in a school year, there's nearly around 200 days. So that's around 200 kilometers in one school year of you walking from just the Green Drive gate all the way around the big school to the front where year 2 is. Half a kilometer, okay? And then the same route going back. So that's a kilometer. You do that every single day for one whole school year. That's 200 kilometers. In order for you to get the same distance from the Earth to the moon, you would have to do that Green Drive walk for 200 years. Sorry, 2,000 years. You'd have to do it for 2,000 years. You would be very, very, very old. And at the moment, nobody has ever reached past 150 years old. So it's very, very far away. And that'll hopefully help you understand how far that distance is. Now, the Earth is 4 times bigger than the moon. Now, this symbol isn't showing you anything to do with the moon or the Earth. It's just showing you that this is a quarter. And a quarter is obviously, it's saying that if the moon is one size, then the Earth is 4 times bigger than that moon. So what you can do now is, I'd like you to pause the video. I'd like you to go outside and see the moon in the sky. Now, you could do this during the daytime and see whether you can spot the moon during the day. And it's a lot trickier because of the light. However, it's still there. It's not just out at nighttime. And then when you see it out at night, then you can see it a lot more clearer, and it might look a bit of a funny shape because of the cycle of the moon. But what I want you to do is, when you go outside and you see that moon, I want you to imagine Neil Armstrong's feelings when he made that first step onto the moon. How do you think you would feel? You look up at that sky and you think you are just about to step on a floating rock in the middle of space that's going around our Earth. How would you feel? What would you be thinking? I find it really tough to have any idea what it must have been like. He was the first person to ever step on that moon, and anything could have gone wrong. There could have been so many things that could have gone wrong on his journey up there, or when he'd come out of the spacecraft. Everything could have gone wrong. But because of the science behind it, everything just went just about right for him to be able to make that amazing step on the moon. And think about how you would feel doing that and what you'd be thinking about. The Apollo 11 mission in 1969 has led scientists to understand the moon better. The moon's surface is solid and settled and has settled dust on top of it. So a long time, people used to think the moon was made of cheese. Obviously, that's a bit of a joke. It's a solid floating rock. Now, it's got settled dust on top of it. So when you step on it, you can see the dust just come up a little bit because you are disturbing the surface. The moon is made from rock. The distance between the Earth and the moon is 384,400 kilometers. And the moon is 4.5 billion years old. Now, that is extremely old. So, let's go on to the next page. This is a quote from NASA's scientist Samuel Lawrence. So he's someone that worked on maybe the Apollo mission. So he said, what the Apollo program did was convert the moon from an object of fascination to a place where we could explore. So it changed it. It said that the Apollo mission, where they sent the rocket and they sent Neil Armstrong up to space, it changed it from being this magical thing in the sky that nobody knew what it was like to this rock of science, and you could find out more about the world and the space and everything around us. And it was such a big leap, again, a great leap for mankind, or for humans. These discoveries were only possible by humans going to the moon and collecting sample moon rock for scientific testing. So what they did was they chipped a little bit of the moon rock and they took it with them and they took it back to analyze it, to understand what it's made from, what's its history. Because when we look at our rock on Earth, we can tell what happened years and years ago by the rock piling up and getting squished together. We wanted to find out the same from this. So these are your questions to think about. There's nothing for you to write down, but I want you to either think about it and maybe even record your answers on Tapestry. But it's a thinking lesson, okay? So what if no man or no woman had ever set foot on the moon? How could we have discovered what we know about it? That's your first question. What if nobody had ever set foot on the moon? How could we have discovered what we know about it? And question 2, how do you think learning about the moon has helped scientists? So how do you think that what the scientists know now and what they didn't know before, how was that one piece of moon, or what they went to the moon and found out, how has that helped scientists for future? So that is your task for you to do. And I also want you to do this next activity, which is something for you to do. I want you to draw a picture of Neil Armstrong landing on the moon. Now, you can either have him landing in his spacecraft and maybe what he was saying, or you could have him as he's just taken that step onto the moon. And I want you to think of a quote that he might have said. It could be something like, wow, I can't believe I made it. It could be, I cannot wait for other humans to walk on the moon. It might be, life will never be the same again. One of the things I am looking for is if you have punctuated your quote correctly. I've given you 3 examples of how you punctuate your quote. Remember, your quote, your speech marks are like hugging everything in the sentence. There's nothing outside of our hug. They're hugging everything in. So that's what you need to do in order to make your quote correct. And this is the picture in which might help you. You can see Neil Armstrong here stood next to the American flag. Now, we can't change the flag because it's Neil Armstrong we're drawing and he is an American, so it's the American flag. So I would like you to, maybe you could draw something like this, and then you can have a little speech bubble coming off Neil Armstrong, the astronaut, and you could say what he might have said. Thank you very much for coming along to this history lesson. I look forward to seeing you in the next lesson and your work on tapestry. Thank you very much, Da Vinci. Goodbye.